enemy fights to gain what we cannot take with us. It's in our nature.
Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is my Assassin's Creed Syndicate 100% sync walkthrough. This is sequence 5, and the mission is entitled End of the Line. So something I should really say that I haven't really divulged too much throughout this, because I'm hoping that the people using this are smart enough to understand what missions that they're having trouble with and how to find them, and that's the reason that I'm using the naming criteria I am. However, I do appreciate that each of these individual memories is numbered, and I'm not putting those on the titles, and you might wonder why I don't do that. Well, the first one is, a lot of the times it can be too big for YouTube to accept. And especially now, because the majority of people are watching YouTube on their phones, it also makes it tricky to read what the title is on phones. So my titles were already too big for the phone demographic anyway, and making them even bigger seems like a pretty hefty toll. But this is an assassination mission. These are arguably the more interesting missions on the game because it gives you choice, and it almost gives you the illusion that it could work really well. However, it very rarely does. And it's very formulaic and it's very archaic in ways, and I find it difficult to complement these sections of the game other than by referencing sections in previous Assassin's Creeds that were worse, because this is essentially the evolution of what they introduced in Unity, but I think in Unity it was a bit more interesting, it just didn't work as well. So this is a better working, less ambitious version of those missions in Unity, and it doesn't sound like a compliment, does it? It literally sounds like, well, it definitely was something, and that is not a pleasantry at all. That is not counting the graces. That's just saying, well, I didn't think it was going to kill any members of my family, but I'm happy that it didn't. And that's the issue that I have with a lot of the gameplay in Syndicate. It's perfectly passable, but for the 9th game in the series, they should really be striving for excellence, and wow. And they're kinda not. They're resting on their laurels in a lot of ways, and certain people are going to be okay with that because it's what they want, and other people like myself are going to wish that they'd just gone a little bit further and give you more choice, as I use a smoke bomb here to cruise in and take down these people. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, but in the particular strategy I'm doing here, you're going to have to get past those guys, and that is one of the easiest ways to do it. So now that we've stolen what we needed and we've talked to that guy, we're going to be using a secret passage for the secondary objective in this mission. So now we've done this, it's going to make a movement of people to go towards the train. And when we go that way, we're going to be able to unlock the possibility to do the unique kill. And my advice for anybody playing this game is to always go for the unique kills, because it generally puts you in a situation where you have to do the least amount of work. And coming from somebody who likes to try on video games, that might sound a little bit contradictory to my normal playstyle, but in a game such as this, where the game literally doesn't work at times, I'm always looking for a cleaner option, and this is definitely, by far, one of the cleanest. But you might wonder, if you're just a casual observer, you know, why I am so strict against the stealth mechanics in this game, and why I would go as far as to say, you know, the things I said in the earlier part of this video. Well, the reason is simple. There's a game called Hitman Blood Money, and it did this perfectly, and it did it perfectly back in about 2008. So I find it very difficult to be impressed by anything this game does, stealth and assassination-wise, because none of it is new, none of it is interesting, and none of it is as good as it worked in that game. Hitman Blood Money is one of the finest assassination games ever made, and even then it has its roughness to it, but it worked so much better than the previous Hitman games that it truly stood out as a very influential and amazing game, which I love with all my heart. You know I love that game because I bought it for PC, and I'm never the guy that buys the PC version. But I did, and then I got it on console when I got a console later on. Like, I am a massive Hitman guy. I started on Hitman 2, hated it, thought it was way too difficult and I was nowhere near good enough to play it, you know. Then went on to Contracts. Contracts was considerably better, but it was still an arsehole of a game at times. And then Blood Money just got it right. It got it right so well. As I come down here, kill these people, and now I'm going to steal the... Oh, I don't have to steal them, it seems, because I've got the execution, which gives me the loot. You need that ability, guys. The ability that loots people when you execute them is so good, you'll never really have to use the shops again, because you can just run on the street and double kill people like police and gang members and get all your smoke bombs back and things. Really cool feature. However, really not so cool feature, I cannot climb the next piece of geometry. For some reason, Jacob will not climb up this train. It is the bizarrest thing. The geometry on every other part of the game is so sticky that he'll climb it when you don't want him to, and that one time you want him to climb something, he won't. And you know what's most ironic about it is I could climb this. The stuff this guy does, nobody could do. It's just not physically possible unless you're that French guy, and even he'd struggle. Like, I could climb this train, but the detection on the game will not let me, so I have to put myself in harm's way to climb the damn train. But once you're up here, it's going to trigger this little cutscene. With a little bit of engineering and editing, we're going to kill her and get out of here. And this one is a short one, so I don't have to edit it too much, but I'm going to trim out the dialogue so it'll go to white with a slow motion effect, which I think looks really good occasionally. And then it's going to bleed back to white, and we're going to be getting the hell out of dodge. So now that transition is over with, you need to get away. And to get away, you want to do it on the train, because that's the objective. And all you'll have to do now, if you've followed my strategy, is get to the end of this carriage, a la Under Siege 2 style, and then press a button, and the mission is over. Pretty quick, pretty cool. But Hitman is a great game, but it is still flawed. And Hitman Absolution had some great moments, and it had some terrible moments in it. And this coming Christmas and the months afterwards, we're going to be getting the new Hitman, and I'm hoping it's going to literally be the single finest assassination game ever created. And I'm going to be covering it on the channel, so if you're excited for that, folks, that's going to happen. But that's the end of the mission, there's your objectives, and as always, you take care now.